Hi, thanks for joining me. I'm Debbie. If this is the first time we are meeting, what am I today? I'm a destination wedding specialist. I help couples who are considering, thinking, have decided they're going to have a destination wedding. So if you're joining me live, thank you. Feel free to drop your comments in the live chat. If you're joining me on Facebook, if you're joining me on YouTube, the same. If you're watching the replay, please drop your comment, drop something in the comments and let me know you were here. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them as best I can. Typically, I'm here on Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern. However, that's about to change, and I'll mention that towards the end. So for right now, today's topic, normally it's Ask Me Anything, but today I want to focus on something specific. I want to talk about, is your destination wedding legit? Is it legal? This question comes up, and well, it doesn't come up as often as it's coming up, but I'm not hearing it because I just assume, of course, everybody knows the answer to that. So let's go through a few items that I think might help you. Of course, chime in if you have any feedback. So a destination wedding happens away from home. If you're getting married in miles away from home, but not your home state, it's in the same country. Let me rephrase that. If you're getting married in the same country where you reside, it's pretty safe to say that you know your wedding is going to be legal so long as you follow the local state guidelines. However, if you're getting married out of the country, this might be something that you're concerned about, and I can see the legitimacy in questioning that. Here's what the situation is. If you're getting, as long as you are adhering to the rules of the country where you are planning, where you're having your wedding, for the most part, and I'll tell you why I'm saying for the most part, that wedding is recognized here in the United States. Now, if you're located in another country, I can't speak for that. But so long as you're following the local and the legal requirements of the destination where you are having your wedding, that marriage is recognized here in the US. The reason I say for the most part is that um, right now, as I'm recording this, we're kind of going through some upheavals here in the US. That's the best word I can use. And things that we thought were long-standing are being questioned a little bit, are being changed. So I say that to say, for the most part, as it is right now, your wedding legitimately at the destination is legit and legal in the US. The best advice I have for you is to check with your home state attorney general. This um, this department can answer that question for you. What's important to know is that every location has its own laws and rules, just like here in the United States. Um, the rules vary from state to state, and even within one state, the requirements vary by county or by borough or by city. So there's a lot of moving parts, but the key thing that you need to do, sorry, let me just make sure I get my notes here, is that you've got to, oops, sorry. I'm not doing this. I'm not a good job today. Come on, Dab. There you go. Is to do your research. Um, as with anything, you want to do your homework. It's important. And if you are getting married in another country, which a lot of destination weddings are, but even if you're going from a completely different side of the country within the same country, do your research. But this might be a really great reason to coincide a scouting trip. A scouting trip is where you go and check out the venue, to check out the location before you make the decision. And this is a good time, if you know, to discuss, to determine what the marriage, what the legal requirements are for you to get married at that location. Outside of that, my go-to places, my suggestions would be the tourism board for the destination where you're going. This organization, this group can give you the lay of the land as it is current. A lot of times you'll find information online, but things change. things change. So make sure you communicate with a human being about what the requirements are for the tourism board for that country. The embassy or the consulate for that country is also another great place. So the embassy for any country is here in the U.S. is typically located in the capital. So, sorry, let me rephrase that. You'll find an embassy located usually in the capital. The consulate is usually in a major metropolitan location, city, town. So they are the representative of that country at the embassy. So if you're here in the US and you go to the Australian embassy, you're inside the Australian embassy, you're on Australian soil, right? So that's another great resource to check. What are the legal marriage requirements? Any country that you're considering, any destination, let's put it that way, that you're considering, you're going to find out the details, right? Also, a good place, a good person, a good resource is your wedding planner. If you are working with someone local, like I am, I'm here in the Washington, D.C. metro area, so I'm local. Most of the destination weddings I plan are in another country. But if you work with the wedding planner or the wedding person, whatever his or her title may be at the destination, they no doubt know what the marriage laws are. But you do your due diligence too, right? It definitely comes down to you. But a lot of the resorts and the hotels that host destination weddings will absolutely know what the process is. So you want to make sure you do your research. All right. Next, what documents are you going to need? There are going to be some obvious ones and maybe some that are not so obvious. So you definitely, if you're getting married outside of your hometown, outside of your home country, you need your passports, plural, you and your fiance, current passports. And you want to make sure that there's enough time. You may have heard this, but the expiration date of your passport needs to be more than 6 months from your travel date. So if you've got 5 months or less, 5 months, if you've got 6 months or less before the expiration date on your passport, that's not going to work for your destination. So let's say you are planning to get married in May next year and your passport expires, let's say December of next year. That's too close. You need to have more wiggle room there to avoid any possible problems or issues. Your photo IDs. So yeah, your passport is a photo ID, but many times you may have to present something else. So driver's license, something else that has your photo on beyond your passport. Again, this is all down to the country, the destination you're going to. They call the shots, right? And if you want your wedding to be legit, to be legal, you've got to make sure that you follow those rules. Birth certificate. Many times you'll need to present an official copy. So it's not just you make a copy of your own birth certificate. There is an official copy that you can get from your place from the town or the city, state where you were born. Many destinations will require that official copy. Divorce papers. If this isn't your first wedding and either one of you or both of you are divorced, you'll need to provide divorce papers. You also, if you're a widow or widower, you'll need your death certificate of your spouse. So these are all requirements. Not all what I'm sharing here, for the most part, you're going to need to have those. It'll vary by degree. Some will require more, some will require more, but these are the foundational documents that you're going to need to have to make sure that your destination wedding is legit. These are the requirements before you're issued a marriage license. So you get your marriage license that gives you the okay to get married. And then once you're married, you have a marriage certificate, which says you're married, right? So these are all the things leading up to getting a marriage license at your destination where you're thinking about getting married, right? And then in some instances, although it's becoming less so, you may need blood test results. That again is determined by destination, but I want you to be prepared. These are things that you will likely need for your destination wedding in order to get the marriage license. Your passport, current passport, photo IDs, birth certificate and official copies, divorce papers, if applicable, death certificates for your spouse, if applicable, and possibly blood test results. These are the documents that I want you to make sure that you have in hand, okay? If you're here and you have any questions, let me know. If you're watching live, you can type in the comments. And even if you're watching the replay, type it in the comments and I'll definitely get back if you have questions. All right, let's talk about cutting through the red tape. So you're like, okay, wait, we just did the documents. Wasn't that the red tape? No. There's typically some things that apply. One of the first things that you'll hear about are residency rules, and this is what the residency rules mean. It's how long you need to be physically at the location where you're having your wedding before you can marry. So different locations, different destinations, again, have different requirements. For example, Turks and Caicos, absolutely beautiful, stunning. A location, if that's where you're in the Caribbean, if you're considering getting married in Turks and Caicos. Well, the residency requirements there is 48 hours. That means you must be on the island for 48 hours before your wedding, and not just 48 hours, business days. The day of your arrival is not counted as a day, and weekends are not included. So do you see there, when you're planning to have a legal wedding, these are things that you need to be aware of. Different islands have different residency rules. Some islands, you just need to be on the island for 24 days. Some islands, you can get married on the day that you arrive if you pay an express fee. But these are things you want to make sure you check before. And again, if you're getting married at a resort, those folks the staff and the team there will know. Witnesses. Some locations require a certain number of witnesses in order for not just for the wedding, but sometimes for the application. And some of what I'm saying here rings true for even if you're getting married domestically. Again, if you're here in the US and you're in one state and you're getting married somewhere else, usually the residency rules don't apply here in the US, but there are some of these things that I'm going to share with you here that do apply for a domestic destination wedding. Let me put it that way. So presentation of paperwork. Several of the islands require that you apply in person. So a lot of the things that, remember, I talked about, you got to have your passport, you have your birth certificate. In some instances, you can send that ahead of time, but many times you've got to be there. You have to be present in person. They got to be able to see both of you there before they can process the paperwork. In some instances, you can have a representative. So maybe someone on the resort can handle that for you. But in some instances, you have got to be there, and this will all tie in to when you've got to show up when you're planning your travel. How long do we need to be there before the wedding? Do we need to go down to the official office to present our documents and so forth? And then there are waiting periods in some instances. So residency rules are how long you physically need to be on the island or in the destination. And then they're waiting. Sometimes in some instances, you have the license, but then there's a waiting period before the ceremony can actually happen. You may get your license today, Monday, and it may be 24 or 48 hours before the wedding can take place. So, tie that in with residency rules, and then waiting periods. You're adding time to your trip. Right? There are other nuances, but those are the ones that you'll see coming up. The witness, the residency rules, being present to present your paperwork, being there to present your paperwork, and then waiting periods. But there are other nuances. In some countries, there are marriage bans, BANNS, bans. I know the United Kingdom requires it, and in France. And that's what it is. It's like a public announcement. It's a chance for someone to say, you publicly announce that this couple is getting married, and this gives someone an opportunity to say, wait, hold on, no, that can't happen. I know you may be, getting married in the UK may not be on your radar, or it may well be. Getting married in France may not be on your radar, or may well be. But if you're getting married in the Caribbean and you're getting married on an island that is a dependency of, let's say, a French territory, let's say Saint Martin, Martin, not Marteen. Saint Martin is a French dependency, or is it a territory? So that follows that law of the bans. The bans have to be read, and that sometimes 14 days or so forth before the wedding. So these are things that you've got to keep in mind. On some islands, you can only get married on specific days. Curacao, a lovely island, you can't get married on a Sunday. not happening. So you've got to figure that out with regard to your dates and your times. Apostille is a document that you may see, apostille, apostille, I think is how you say that. And really, it's a verification of a document's authenticity. So it's this, an apostille says this other document right here is legit. This document is authentic. And this comes into play a lot of times if there's a different language on the document that you have. Let's say your birth certificate is in one language and you're getting married in a country with another language, then the apostille is the confirmation that the other document is legit. So these are different nuances. These are part of the red tape that you can expect with regard to a destination wedding. Some islands make it very easy. Others, you've got to jump through some hoops, right? In some instances, it depends on the citizenship of the person getting married. So like say, if your partner is a citizen of that country and you are not, then the requirements might change a little bit. All of this comes down to doing your research, right? Now, having said that, you may be thinking, oh, this is for the birds. Why should we even bother? Well, and many couples feel that way. I don't want to go through all that. I don't think I want to deal with all of this hoopla. So you'll hear that some couples will actually not have a legit wedding at the destination, meaning they'll have a symbolic ceremony at the location and get married legally before they go, sometimes after. So if you hear the term symbolic ceremony, and I just assume that people know what that means, symbolic, some people think it's the actual ceremony itself, or the symbolism of the ceremony. What it is a symbolic ceremony means you're going through the whole hoopla of a wedding, the gown, the aisle, the guests, the whole ceremony. But what's really happening is it's not, you'll say, kiss your bride, or, but it's not a legal wedding. It's just a symbolic wedding. This allows you to have all of the beauty and the picture perfect look, the what's the word? The community and the love of being around your friends and family at a destination, because a destination wedding, right? What you're basically doing is planning a vacation for everybody, right? You can have all of that, but skip all of what I just talked about with regard to the paperwork and the documents and all of that, the residency requirements. But that wedding isn't actually a legally binding wedding. It's just a symbol of that, hence the term symbolic. This is a great idea. For some couples, it doesn't feel legit to them. Well, it isn't legit. Legally, it isn't, right? Because it feels like, they want their wedding day to be the day that they got married at the destination. And this really comes down to personal choice. You can have a symbolic wedding and nobody else but the two of you know. None of your guests don't need to know. You may choose to tell a few people. You may choose to tell all of them. This is just symbolic. I would caution you on that, though. Because when you go through having a destination wedding and then telling everybody it's not a legal wedding, that kills some of the joy. And what it also may do is create resentment, because somebody may say, well, why on earth are you having us go all the way to Timbuktu or wherever the destination is, and it's not even a legal wedding? Do you see how that could be, depending on who it is? We all have those negative Nellies, negative Nancys in our circle that'll just take that and jump all over that. Why on earth are we all traipsing through? Others may not. For some, it's a wonderful thing. They're just happy to be at the destination. So I just caution you on sharing that, and just take some of the magic of the wedding away, I think personally. But I don't want to impress all of my opinions on you. I just want to give you some food for thought there. A symbolic wedding sounds wonderful, sounds like a real happy medium, but also understand it's not allowed everywhere. There are some places where it's got to be a legitimate wedding, it's got to be a legal wedding, or you're not having a wedding. Sandals Resorts is one of those places. Sandals does not do symbolic wedding ceremonies, except in Curacao. Just not on a Sunday. Well, I guess it could be on a Sunday because it's a symbolic wedding, right? That's a good point. But Sounders Resorts doesn't do symbolic weddings. You're getting married, or you're not getting married. The workaround there is you get married ahead of time here in the U.S., and then what you're having really is a vow renewal. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, so symbolic may be the way to go. For some couples, and this happens less. Usually, if you're doing a symbolic wedding, you get married week or so, maybe a month before, you go down and you tie the knot. Some couples, they do the legal wedding after. So they do the symbolic ceremony in the Caribbean or the destination. And then when they come home, they tie the knot. Now, you can make this about tying the knot. If you have guests or family members who were not able to attend your destination, you could actually have the legal ceremony when you come home and invite them. Kind of, it's a little different. Usually it's the other way around. Folks will tie the knot beforehand legally and then head to their destination. But a symbolic wedding is a workaround. You can decide what the official anniversary is. For some couples, as I mentioned, it's the day they got married in the Caribbean or wherever the destination is. And even though the marriage certificate, which is what you get after the wedding, will have the date of the legal ceremony. So so different options for you to think about, but that is one workaround. What I want you to do right now with regard to planning your destination wedding is I want you to check your passports right now. I mean, like right now, check your passports. There are too many times where someone has said, no, we're good. And then it's almost you just overlook the whole thing. So double check your passports. When you're having a destination wedding, I hope that you will have a wedding website. The website is the place where ongoing information is available to anyone considering going to your wedding, or maybe just people who are curious. Emphasize the need to check the passport. Emphasize that. Whether you have a travel advisor or a wedding planner working with you, I hope you do. But you, the couple, make sure you emphasize the importance of the passport. It would be awful for someone to go through all of the planning and making the arrangements, and then that throws them off. Ask me how I know this. It's happened on more occasions than I care to admit and remember. Also, I would urge you to consider travel insurance. This is a really great reason to have insurance when you're traveling. I think travel insurance is really a good idea. I'm somebody who flies by the seat of my pants, and only when I became part of the travel industry, I understood the importance. I mean, insurance, nobody really wants to pay for insurance, whether it's car insurance, whether it's homeowners. We really don't want to pay for it. But good God, when something goes wrong or goes left, we're so happy we have it. Same with travel. Your wedding is a big enough reason, is a big deal. As I say, your wedding is a big deal. Even if it's a small wedding, it's a big deal. And travel insurance and wedding insurance, for that matter, is something I think you should consider. So, is your wedding legit? Is your destination wedding legal? It absolutely is legal if you are following the guidelines of the destination where your wedding is taking place. If you're not, if something doesn't ring true, if you don't have the right documents, or something isn't what that destination says you require, then you're not legally married. If you're not legally married there, you're not legally married at home. But if you're following the guidelines as instructed by the destination, you're good for the most part, at least here in the United States. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm not in that realm, but you're in a good spot. Check with your state's attorney general for the final word on, I'm getting married at insert country here. Is it legal here? And let them tell you that. I'm pretty sure for the most part, you'll be just fine. Okay? All right. That's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope this has helped you in some way. Please feel free to post in the comments either later. I don't think I have any live comments. I hope I'm not missing anything. But if there's anything here that isn't making sense, or if you just have questions, please let me know. Also, if you are planning a destination wedding or considering it, I'd love to help you with that. Feel free to visit hitchedaway.com. And if you go to hitchedaway.com/call, there's a place where you can answer a few questions and just schedule time to talk. Even if you don't think you need the help of someone like me, I'd love to help brainstorm and answer any questions you have, maybe even about the legalities. I can help you with that too. All right. I mentioned that I'll be changing up the schedule. As I record this, the clock goes forward next week. So we're going into a different day. Is it does daylight saving time end, or is it beginning? It's doing something. Let me see. What is it? Daylight saving time begins. Daylight saving time begins. So I'll be going to the Ask Me Anything format will be on the first Sunday of each month, still on Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern, but I'll be adding some other live events during the week, which are a little more comprehensive. So like today, I kind of went down the rabbit hole of one topic, but many times what I really wanted to do for this session is just to answer any questions that you have in general. So I'll be doing that on the first Sunday of the month. Please follow Hitched Away on social media. I'm terrible at that, but I'm doing my best to improve. And again, if there's any way I can help you with your destination wedding, vow renewal, or romantic travel, I'd love to be a part of that. Okay. All right. Thanks so much for joining me. My name is Debbie from Hitched Away, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.